So during this time, the acting thing is going and everything. And how is your personal life going during this time?
It's going great. It was going great at the time during the acting phase. Yeah.
This is when you start to settle down, right? When you start to you had your ex fiance and you started to have kids, or
Yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't really settle down, but uh, I was beginning to. I was in the process of, but I haven't fully. It wasn't fully like changed or whatever. That's why I caught my case. Like lost my temper. Lost my temper. That should never happen, but I lost my temper because I didn't change.
okay, so 2016, you and your ex fiance, you guys were arguing outside of a steakhouse. This guy
Yeah.
comes walking by and he has the nerve to walk in between you guys while you guys are talking, and he brushes up against her basically. You're still fresh, almost like, still in the street mentality, still fresh out of prison almost, right? So it's like the disrespect is just insane.
Insane. It was. I mean, it's nothing in the bigger picture. It's really
Even
not.
for someone that didn't go to prison,
Yeah.
right? Like that's just
Yeah.
disrespectful.
It's disrespectful, and I felt disrespected, and I questioned him. And the response was very racist. So um, I punched him.
So
Bro.
when you confronted him,
And he was
he just
drunk, but he was drunk. So maybe that's
oh, he
not
was
who he
drunk.
really is. He was drunk.
Mhm.
So when people are drunk, they do things that they normally wouldn't do. I was drunk as well. Maybe if I wasn't drunk, I might not have swung on him. Or maybe if he wasn't drunk, maybe he wouldn't have gestured the way he gestured. And I took offense to that. I've been dealing with Asian hate my whole life. So, took offense to that, and I hooked off.
So when you confronted him and um he didn't say anything to you, he just gestured like with his eyes, the regular mocking of Asians basically.
Yeah, yeah. The mocking of Asians. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he was slurring some shit about, why do y'all people take that shit home or some shit like that? Like, I mean, he has a valid point. We shouldn't be arguing in the streets. Like, whatever we have going on between us, save it for the house. I get it. I get it. He's not wrong.
Right.
He's not wrong for saying that. It's just the timing and delivery was not right.
You only punch him one time and he falls down.
Yeah, when I hit him, I hit him one time, and I knocked him out, and he fell down with nothing to stop him from falling, and he landed on his head. If he was still awake, he couldn't break his fall. That was the main thing. He couldn't break his fall, and he hit his head and went to the hospital. He went to the hospital, and his brain started swelling up, and they had to open his skull up and remove part of his brain to save his life. Now you see why I don't like to villainize the victim. I don't want to
Right.
villainize the victim. Like, no matter what he did, nobody deserves that. Like, he had part of his skull fucking removed. Like, nobody deserves that. No matter what you do, nobody deserves that. So that's why I don't really get the details much about it, because at the end of the day, for what? No, we both pay the price. We both pay the price to something that we both shouldn't have done.
And I mean, as a result, like he was in a coma and he lost his eyesight, right? Like it was really bad.
It was really bad. Yeah, it was really bad.
So when after you punched him, like were like the police called? Like, did you get in trouble like right away from there, or was this like something that
No.
happened down the line?
Uh, after I punched him, I walked away, but I didn't know that I had punched him so hard that the bone in my hand broke the skin and came out and was exposed to oxygen. And a couple of days later, it started smelling and hurting, and I had to go to the hospital. And I went to the hospital, and right away they took my vitals and my temperature, admitted me into the hospital. They didn't let me back out. They said, "Oh, I think you have an infection in your hand, in your bone," and I got admitted to the hospital. And then a week or two later, there was a police. When I woke up, there was a cop sitting in the chair and asked me for a question and said, "We gotta take you to. You don't have to go to central booking. We're gonna take you straight to court from the hospital." and we'll see what happens at court. They arrested me in the hospital, took me to central booking. I know, took me to the precinct, and from precinct it took me straight to the judge, see a judge because I was in a medical state, and then from seeing the judge, I went to Tombs, and from the Tombs, the medical didn't clear me going in, so they sent me to Bellevue Hospital, and Bellevue Hospital said, "Oh, you got a bone infection," and they put me in the prisoners ward upstairs on the top floor or something, awaiting surgery for my hand. So they had to scrape the infection off my bone. They said I had osteomyelitis. And then they put a PICC line straight into my heart to fight the infection. It was vancomycin. I almost lost my hand in my life with that punch. Because human bones is not supposed to be exposed to the air. It has no protection against air. Like the air has bacteria and microgens and airborne bacteria. The bone has no protection against that. So when I punched him and my bone broke the skin, it came out through my skin. It was exposed to the air. That's how I caught the infection. So they had to put a PICC line straight to my heart and inject vancomycin, the highest, the strongest antibiotic ever, straight to my heart for 2 months, in the hospital. Because I got bailed out while I was in surgery. I got bailed out, so I was in the prison wing of the hospital at Bellevue before my surgery. When I woke up from my surgery, they sent me to a private room because now I was back to being a civilian because I got bailed out.
That just goes to show you something, man. Like, something as simple as a single punch can change your life because you weren't thinking like dude is gonna fall down and crack his head or like you're gonna break
Nope,
your hand or something like that at all, right? Like, I mean,
never, never
at the
crossed my
worst,
mind.
like you probably thought like
And,
simple assault charge or something, like like not like something like
they might lock me up if they lock me up. I might get community service. They might make me pick up garbage on the Bell Parkway. That was what I was thinking because now I know better, but before I'm thinking it's a punch in the face. Like people get punched in the face in jail all the time. I grew up in prison, so people get punched in the face all the time. So you don't think that it's as serious as it is. But now that I learned, anytime you put your hands on another individual, it's serious because the potential of damage, nobody knows. Anything can happen. Look what happened to me. Anything can happen. Something as no, not to belittle the situation, but something as simple as a punch in the face can alter your life forever. It altered his life forever, and it definitely altered my life forever as well. So I know nothing good can come from that.
so you're fighting the case for 2 years and still doing movies
Yeah,
just during the time,
yeah.
right?
I
And
actually did.
during the time you do Circle,
No, Circle was the promo that got me found.
got you.
That was a
Okay.
Kickstarter that got me discovered. Yeah, I mean, if you look at IMDb, this shows that
So you did Killerman and Snakehead
after I got bailed out.
after you got bailed out. You did Killerman and
After I got
Snakehead,
bailed out.
right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah. The
even during this time though, you didn't know like the extent of his injury really. Like you knew that he
I
was
did.
hurt,
I
but
did.
like you
I
didn't
did.
know like like dude like is like in a wheelchair and he lost his sight and stuff like that,
I
right?
didn't know. I didn't know none of those details. All I knew was he went to the hospital. He had some severe injuries, but he's still alive. They didn't tell me he was in a nursing home. They didn't tell me none of that. They said that he lived. So in my mind, I didn't think it's that serious. I'm like, it's a punch in the face, man. They're gonna one of these days. I'm gonna go to court and they're gonna offer me 60 days or maybe probation time served. It's a punch in the face. So that's what I was thinking. So when they said that they was ready for trial, I was like, let's go. No, no, they gave me a cop out. They said, you want to plead guilty? Plead guilty to 6 years. I said, hold up, plead guilty to 6 years. 7 years is my fucking max. I'm pleading guilty to 6 years. So I said, let's go to trial. I always wanted to go to trial. I always regretted on my other cases that I always pled guilty and never took a chance. So I said, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna go to trial, take a chance, roll the dice. Little did I know that, you know, well, whatever. Don't want
When you found out though, like the extent of like how much he was hurt and everything, because it was like it's a very sad situation for everybody involved, right? Because not only now, like
Hmm.
they giving you 7 years and you end up doing 5.5 years, but like he was he had a daughter on the way too. So like him making that mistake of being drunk and you know,
Um,
doing that to you and something that could have been totally avoided, right?
yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to correct you or anything like that, but is it, he didn't make no mistakes. And he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like I said, I've come to grips that nothing he did was wrong. He was just being himself. I have no rights to change another man's future. I have no rights to physically chastise somebody. So I won't say that he made a mistake. I would say that he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. I made the mistake. I made the mistake by putting my hands on somebody that, if I'm in jail, if I'm in prison and I fight with another prisoner, it's justified. Where it's survival of the fittest in there. Or if he was gang banging and I was gang banging and we fight, cool. But he was a property manager. He's not in that lifestyle. So I feel like he don't deserve that. He don't deserve that. Like no matter what he did, no matter whatever I felt that he did to me or whatever, he's not wrong. I'm 100% wrong. Yeah.
So the second case, I mean, the second stint in prison is much more difficult because at this time, I mean, when the first one you didn't have like anything, like you were just a kid, you were 16 years old going in, you know what I mean, like with very little life experience. And this time around, you have kids, you have a fiance at the time and everything, and it's just like how do you feel like overall that whole situation impacted you differently the second time around?
Impacted me differently. It impacted me a lot because I missed the opportunity to watch my kids grow up. 5.5 years in the bigger picture of things may not seem like a long time, but when a kid is growing up, 5.5 years is a long time. Like so much change. Like their weight doubles. That's how much change you miss. Like when you go in there, they're like 70 pounds. By the time you get out, they're like 120 pounds, or whatever the case may be. And those are not the exact numbers. But I knew what I was missing now. My parents are older now as well. Like when I went in the first time, my parents were still young. I'm like they was younger than I am now. So now my parents are a little bit older. And everybody around me is a little older. Like time is precious. You can't buy that back. Anything you do to take away time from your loved ones, you'll never get that time back. So yeah, it hurt a lot. It hurt a lot.
And how old were they at the time when you went away?
My kids. My oldest was 7. My youngest was 4.
So these are
7
like
and
very
4.
formidable years to miss out on.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I was fortunate that I was able to talk to them every day on the phone. So I was still able to communicate with them and stay in touch, but I couldn't actually be there, you know? And every now and then, they'll come visit me. Their mother was very good on that phase that she wanted them to grow up with a father figure, even though we're not together. She wanted them to grow up with a father figure. So she made sure that I was always able to call them and I was always encouraged to call. Even if you have nothing to talk about, call. Stay in touch with your sons. They're at that age where they need a father figure. They need somebody to talk to.
Right.
So I was able to stay in touch with them via the phone calls and visits.
How did those nights in the cell during that time feel like? Because like now you're going back to such an aggressive like environment where you have to try to survive, right? This time around, you're coming where you were a parent now. You're trying to be more nurturing. There's like more of a human side to you, right? Like how was that different for you to try to have to go back into like that real beast mode?
one, I'm a little older than I was when I got out. You know, I went back in there at what, 42?
Right.
I went back in there at 42. So 42 and 16, there's a big difference. I don't even have half as much energy as I had back then, you know? But still had to do what I had to do because uh although I'm a very polarized person. You either love the shit out of me or you fucking can't stand my, you know, you fucking hate me. You know, there's no in the middle, you know? So uh when I left there, yeah, I left with a lot of people that respect me and like me, but I also left with a lot of motherfuckers that can't fucking stand me and praise for my downfall every breath they can take. Every time they look in the mirror, they think, damn, I wish this motherfucker would die already. Like I had a lot of those left still in there. So, you know, even if I wanted to chill out completely, I couldn't completely let my guard down. And uh, you reap what you sow. I went back in there, and I still thought I was still young or whatever.
How do you feel though, like when you were outside, right? Like it felt like almost like you were making a turn at a corner now. Like you're getting into acting. You did, a bunch of stuff. It's like you turned your life around to a certain extent, and you got your relationship with your family and everything. Did you feel like it was a letdown when you caught the second case?
Of course, I let a lot of people down. Everybody that believed in me, I let them down. People that was rooting for me and wanted me to win, I let them down. You know what I'm saying? And you could build a house and the shit is gonna look fucking great or whatever, but if the foundation is shaky, it might not crumble today, but eventually it's gonna fall. And my foundation was shaky. I didn't learn nothing from my first bid. I refused to learn. I didn't want to. I didn't want to participate in any educational program, or therapeutical programs. So the foundation was shaky. It wasn't if I was going to hit somebody else again. It's when I'm going to hit somebody else again because I did not learn. I did not learn my lesson. I did not realize it. You know, like I said, I wasn't grown. I haven't grown up yet.